Hiya and welcome to the Red Men TV. It is the Liverpool news update show. And to kick us all started and to get us underway, why don't we look back at the weekend? Because truthfully, that is what we all care about. Liverpool did win the Merseyside Derby at Anfield. No surprises there, really. It wasn't as easy as probably many of us thought. I didn't think it would be easy. And I thought they'd score, but it turns out that Virgil van Dijk turned back into a monster once again. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see how, or because Ibu Konate is not being sent off, the world's gone up in a light. And I'm a bit confused because for the past 3 weeks I've been told to just move on and get on with, mistakes. And I'm going to give the same vibe to the rest of the world. Just get on with it. Ibu Konate should have been sent off. I agree. I thought he would have. I think it's a second yellow, I do. But it didn't happen. A referee's mistake. What can you do? You just move on with these things. Anyway, back to the Reds. I thought we were boss. I don't know about yous. How's everyone's Monday morning been? Anyone in work with a load of blues? Toffee haven't came in yet. As of yet, anyway. Whether they do actually show up, we will see now. But right now, they're not here, so it's not like we could go out to them right now. And I'm not too sure they're bothered anyway. They're used to losing games of football, sadly. But yeah, we pick up 3 points, and we've got a nice run of fixtures coming up. So it's exactly the way we wanted to get it started. Talking about those fixtures, I'll get them up now. Because Liverpool's game against Everton was the big one for me that I was quite worried about up until the next international break. But now we're here. I genuinely think we could win every single game. Up next, we've obviously got Toulouse. I'm not going to do it. It's fine. We've got them on Thursday at Anfield. Then we've got Nottingham Forest at the weekend at Anfield. The problem then comes in that we've got Bournemouth in the EFL Cup, and it's a 7:45 kickoff on a Wednesday, possibly the furthest away ground, and it's at 7:45 on a Wednesday. That might be a problem, certainly for us all getting there. Then we've got Luton on 4:30 on the Sunday, another problem because of how low their ticket allocation is. But that should be a game in which is winnable. Then we've got Toulouse again away from home, and Brentford to end off those round fixtures before the November international break. So genuinely every single game there is winnable. One of them is obviously in the cup. 2 of them are in the Champions League. It happens daily. In the Europa League, sadly Champions League we're not in. A daily reminder when I do it to myself every day. But yeah, Europa League, 2 games, both against Toulouse. And also, you don't really need to win both of those games. You're hoping that the Reds do and sort themselves out, box themselves off. But you don't necessarily need to win them. You need to come out with maybe 4 points. But I can see the Reds winning both of them as well. Hi, Chloe. How are you? I agree that Konate should have been sent off, but he wasn't, and people need to get over it, especially Sean Dice. No, they do. See, if everyone's been a bit more understanding with what happened to Liverpool the other day, I could be more understanding. I really could. I could say, fume about it. Yeah, something should have happened. Go and complain and get the refs taken off a weekends of football. Go and do it. You deserve to. But truthfully, we got told to all just move on with our lives after a goal had been disallowed because people couldn't communicate properly. So genuinely, I just don't care. There's not one. And also, look, you can't predict the future, but then with 10 men probably would have helped Liverpool out more because they'd have felt like they'd have had to go for it. And in return of going for it, Liverpool would have had more space. But there we go. That's what it is. The Europa game is ours to lose. I'll get my hat. I don't want to say not winning the Europa League is a failure for Liverpool, but it is a failure for Liverpool, really. I don't care who's in it. And to be fair, look, Sevilla might come into it. And if Sevilla's into it, then it's not ours to win, sadly. It's their trophy. But, you might have the likes of falling down into the categories. Manchester United will probably end up there. Or, I hope they finish fourth so that they don't, but I also hope they don't succeed in the Champions League. So we probably will face them. There are a couple of good teams who can drop down into it and face us, but we'll soon see. Champions League next season for the Reds, says Craig. We hope so. First of all, I'm trying to find out how to win the trophies that are on offer this season. I don't know whether we'll be able to do that, but we've so far gave ourselves a really good shot, and if come the November break we're in and around the number one spot, then I'm absolutely up for that. Anyway, let's get to some news. We'll go to Victor Osimhen, and look, you can see from my face how little I care for this news, but it is news and we have actually been linked with him, so as this is my job, I have to keep you updated with that. But there was rumours last week that Liverpool were linked with Victor Osimhen, and an Italian journalist came out, I think it was Volta de Maggio. Someone could have made that up. I don't know. I've never heard of the person, but he had this to say. There was the inclusion of another club, a Premier League club. I'm talking about Liverpool. There would be agreements already reached. Let me clarify. The agreements would be between the Reds and the footballer, so they would not involve Napoli. I hope Aurelio De Laurentiis, also a person who could have been made up, but apparently is like the president or somewhere, will be able to keep Osimhen at least until June, but we cannot be sure. It just doesn't seem like something Liverpool would do to me. I'm happy with Darwin Nunez. I'm happy with our front five. We've obviously, you've got the if I was to choose a starting three tomorrow, it'd be Diaz, Nunez, and it'd be Salah. But you've got Jota there, who I thought was brilliant against Everton. You've got Cody Gakpo's coming back. You've got Ben Doak there, lingering around those places as well, especially for Europa League when he's fit. So I'm really quite happy. I mean, if Mo Salah goes, then we've got a big problem. I'm hoping his performances so far this season has proved that the Reds need to do something to make sure he doesn't go, because I'd be absolutely gutted if he was to leave at the end of the season. He's already showing you just how good he still is, and also he seems like someone who really wants to stay at the highest level when he's got it in him. And I think if he left to go to Saudi now, it'd just be too early. He's just too good for it. I feel like he'd want to still continue winning trophies at the highest level. But who knows? There's also a lot of money involved, and money talks. Anyway, moving on from that, Fabrizio Romano has came out and quickly shut down the talk of Victor Osimhen going to Liverpool. He's not shut it down in terms of saying Liverpool aren't interested. He said Liverpool are interested, but he just said that there's no agreement reached. He said some media is reporting that Victor Osimhen already agreed contract terms with Liverpool. Guys, from what I'm told, Victor Osimhen hasn't agreed anything with any club, not even with Napoli. There's no agreement on the contract extension. Napoli made a really important proposal to Osimhen in terms of contract, very important salary. The biggest in Napoli's history is on the table for Osimhen, but he has not decided and he has not agreed anything with any club. So Osimhen will take his time. Reports of an agreement with Liverpool are not true. For sure, Liverpool and many other clubs are keeping an eye on the situation of many strikers, but at the moment, Osimhen, nothing is agreed and nothing is decided. And it comes after... What even happened? Like, Napoli posted a TikTok that was completely and utterly outrageous. And, like, obviously Osimhen was like, what the hell? Apparently that's patched over, but this is coming out. I've got no idea. Napoli are just a bit of a mad club. I don't know who was ahead of, like, their socials and who thought, that's a really good idea. That's a really good concept of a TikTok, of a video. But then to also post it is just... who overrides that? Who has said yes to that? Either way, Victor Osimhen, no matter what he says, he hasn't agreed anything with Napoli either, so he could still be on the market. Once again now, it makes sense for, like, Chelsea to go and buy him. Like, I could see Chelsea next season going and paying 150 mil on Victor Osimhen. because it's Chelsea. And also they need a striker. They've got Brozier up top who's been injured, and Kunku did like his ACL. And even then, I don't think he's an out-and-out striker. Am I missing anyone who they got? I mean, they signed out 17 players in this transfer window. None of them, for me, was an out-and-out superstar striker, which is what I thought they might need. So Victor Osimhen to Chelsea, I could see that happening. Victor Osimhen to Liverpool, I just couldn't, for me, I couldn't see it happen. Back on it, Mo, though, Steve has said Mo will extend his contract. He wants UCL games next year, not the Saudi League. I agree. I hope that he does anyone. He does want to stay at the top level, because imagine him going to the Saudi League. He'd just have to walk about. Like, he wouldn't have to do anything. He's not fighting for anything. But here we are. There's been a couple of mentions of Cuba. He looks a really good player. I saw his celebration the other day where it wasn't a celebration I think I've seen done that often. But yeah, he looks like a boss talent. He's never going to fill Mo Salah's boots. There's no way. But yeah, I agree. Kubo looks like a really, really good footballer, and who knows? Liverpool might have their eyes on him if Salah is to go. Let's hope that he doesn't, though, because I really do not want that. Anyway, talking about more players coming to Liverpool, Reds are reportedly in a battle for Ezekiel Fernandez. Liverpool are reportedly one of the 3 sides interested in signing Boca Juniors midfielder Ezekiel Fernandez, and see how I'm trying to pronounce this so correct. Over the weekend, a fresh report from Italian publication Gazzetta dello Sport claimed the Reds, along with AC Milan and Benfica, are interested in the 21-year-old Argentine. Fernandez is a product of Boca's youth academy and spent last season on loan at Mexican outfit club Atletico. It's Tiger in my head. I don't know what it is in everyone else's. According to HITC, McAllister is a huge fan of his compatriot and delivered a glowing verdict when asked if he would recommend Fernandez to his former club Brighton last campaign. He said, "If you ask me a little more about my style, there's a player that I really like, and that is Ezekiel Fernandez. He's a player who has all the conditions to reach Europe one day, and I hope that can happen to him." So he's got a nod of approval from McAllister. He continued to say, "He's a player that I like a lot. He understands the game a lot. He's always prepared to receive the ball. He plays with both legs. He can play," I hope he played with both legs, Jesus Christ. "He can play as a 5, as an inside player. He is a player who has certain very good conditions, and if Brighton asked me, I would say his name." And I think Liverpool, by being linked to these type of players, are just trying to cut one out. Andre the same. And you could see Andre or this Fernandez going to Benfica or AC Milan, like mentioned, or Brighton. And then us spending 80 million on those players in a year's time, 2 years' time. Liverpool, if they can somehow sort out the system where they identify these youngsters, get them on the cheap and then make them into superstars, would be even more brilliant. But obviously we don't really have that kind of set up in the academy. We don't have anything like that. We do the likes of Ben Doak, we've brought in these players who we are developing, but to go and take top talent like Brighton do and do what they do, yeah, Liverpool don't do that. Brighton are supernatural at it. It's ridiculous how good they can go and identify players, make them into superstars and sell them for world record fees. Hopefully those players then be absolutely crap for other clubs. That isn't Liverpool, but Brighton are the trademark. They are the kind of example to follow. And I don't think Liverpool will ever be able to do that. I think we're just 2 different clubs and 2 different setups. But if we are able to do that, maybe these links are true. I couldn't tell you a single thing about him. Genuinely, not a clue. But if Alexis McAllister likes him, I think he's great too. And that's what I'd say. There are no more open spots in midfield after Andre joins in January. I mean, who knows what's happening with Thiago? I think it'll be his last season at Liverpool. That's for sure. I feel like he got injured about 7 months ago, and I've not seen him since. Obviously, you can't help getting injured. that's just sadly what happens. But it's fair to say that the likes of Thiago hasn't been available enough for Liverpool in his time at the club. And we really need players to be available when you're trying to go for as many trophies as possible in the season. As for Andre, I'd really like Andre to join in January, and then potentially the problem I now have is I don't think I want to see Costas at left back game in game out instead of Robertson. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a good footballer. I think he's really good on the ball going forward. Defensively, I do worry a little bit. And I would have actually, I actually would have chose Gomez for that left back side against Everton, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like you mentioned there, I think we've only got like one non-homegrown player spot, and if that goes to Andre, I feel like we need to do something at left back. Because it is rumoured, quite a lengthy spell out for Robertson, and I feel like you need someone who's going to be good enough to come in and be the backup. And like I mentioned, Costas is a really good footballer. I think he's better suited to a back four though. And, that's just the way I see it. Same, I think we need a left-footed centre-back, finally, for that left-back role. We do. And look, I've enjoyed Robertson, aside from Chelsea. I've really enjoyed the way he's played that role. I think he's been a real leader so far this season. But, I mean, a shoulder injury, I'm pretty sure Virgil came out the other day and said that it's actually like shoulder injuries are quite bad. Mo had to do loads of work to get back after that Real Madrid final. Sorry, I brought it up. So yeah, it's. I think we were already identified someone and we wanted someone for that spot. But even now with Robertson's injury, maybe it makes us hurry up and go and look for that player a little bit quicker. 10 to 12 weeks for Robbo. Yeah, it is. That is far too long. Like, that's like ridiculous. 3 months. What is that about? By that time, like, I just, you could be in a title race, you could be completely falling off. And it could be all down to the fact that your back four is not as stable as it was going into the season. But either way, that's what happens. Brighton can offer young, talented players first team football in the Premier League. Liverpool can't. Too high expectations. Liverpool tried to sign Ferguson, but he chose Brighton because he wouldn't play. Yeah, I agree with this to some extent. I agree. In terms of week in, week out, Brighton can offer that more. I agree with that. What I would say is you'll get your opportunities at Liverpool. You're under a better coach. Jurgen Klopp's a better coach. You would still get your opportunities. You'd have to be patient and you'd have to take those opportunities, and there would be more of a risk kind of factor in it due to the fact that like you'd have to do something with these players for them to then be sellable if they're not good enough for Liverpool. Liverpool also at the moment don't have the time. Like, we need players to be unbelievable now. But I agree. I think there are players who would choose other football clubs due to being able to play more regularly. But Jurgen Klopp has shown he will give players chances, especially at the moment when we're in Europa League. In Champions League, it's different. You feel like you need your strongest 11 out every single, game week. But there's also a Carabao Cup and an FA Cup that literally are there for Jurgen to rotate his squad and get players into it who aren't necessarily in the first team. With Brighton, it's a little bit different. They want to win trophies. They want to see how far they can go for the likes of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So it's not guaranteed that you'd start in that game. There'd still be a really high level of footballers on that pitch, and there still is with Liverpool, but there'd just be more youngsters and less first teamers. But yeah, I agree. A lot of players will go to the likes of Brighton because of how good they are at being able to offer game time. The club, the academy, it's just brilliant. There's not much else I can say. They're really, really good. Andre and a defender will come in January. I do hope so. I wanted a defender beforehand, didn't get one, but I was quite happy because we signed Gravenberch. We all wanted the DM, and we did sign Endo, but I guess we haven't really sorted that. Like, we don't know what we're getting from Endo. I don't know what games he's supposed to be playing. So yeah, I hope for another a DM, Andre specifically, and a centre-back left-footed if possible. This is why I hate the international break. I cannot stand them either. Ross says Costas has just signed a new contract. He has. Yeah, you're right. Good footballer, like I've said. Really good footballer. I just think he's better at attacking than he is at defending. When you transition into a back three, that's when you've sort of got the problem. But like I've just mentioned there, Costas, if Robertson was fit, he would have had the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup and the Europa League. Now, I don't know what he has, because he'll most definitely have the Premier League games, unless Jürgen puts the likes of Gomez in there. I don't know. But yeah, look, I think Costas is got real good quality. I think he's really good. Set pieces especially. I think he's, before Szoboszlai came in, I'd put him over the corners more than I would put Trent. I really think he's got some decent technical ability, but I don't think he's the fastest footballer. Neither's Jürgen, Jesus Christ. Neither's Robertson. But I do worry defensively a bit more with Costas than I would with Robertson. That's just how I see it. LFC are lucky to have a backup like Costas. We are. But now Costas is no longer a backup, and that's the problem. Costas is number one because Robertson's injured. But anyway, I think Costas will be boss. It'll be interesting to see what we do on Thursday with a game on Sunday. Does he ask Costas to just continue going? Does he change it? Does he play Costas on Thursday and play Gomez or someone else? Maybe Quansah? Who knows? But there's far too much games. There's far too many games for Costas to play week in, week out. So that'll surely change. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, before we move on to the boss news that I do want to bring everyone's attention to, we are just going to look at the league table and some of the fixtures that happened the other day. Obviously, Manchester City are top. They beat Brighton because why Brighton let us struggle against you, but let Manchester City beat you? Arsenal there as well on 21 points. They did drop 2 points the other day, but they were 2-0 down to Chelsea. So they clawed their way back. Sanchez for Chelsea gave a massive helping hand to Arsenal by just kicking a ball to Declan Rice. Yeah, it's all Sanchez's fault for me, this. I mean, 2-0 Chelsea. I mean, to be fair, it's quite funny because at 2-0 up, I bet you Chelsea all thought, this is excellent stuff. Like, we are back. I bet you, like, Astrid Wet was on Twitter giving a speech about how good Chelsea are and how they're back. But they're not, and it's great that they're not. I would have liked Chelsea to pick up all 3 points so Arsenal didn't get anything. But ultimately, I'll take Arsenal only getting a point out of that game, but it will feel like 2 points won rather than 2 points dropped for Arsenal. We are obviously sat in third on 20 points. Spurs sat in fourth on 20 points, but they play Fulham tonight. I'm pretty sure they are at home, and I would expect them to win that anyway. So I'm not looking forward to any of that. But there are some massive games coming up. Bear in mind, Aston Villa are in fifth on 19 points. They played really well yesterday. Really good against West Ham. Newcastle got a decent victory as well, sadly. So they're still in and around it. Only 4 points off Liverpool. Bear in mind, we beat them and it kind of felt like they were having quite a bad season at the start. But they are only 4 points off the Reds. But I think sitting in third with the games that we've played, including the Merseyside Derby, is really, really good. And there are some massive fixtures coming up. City play Manchester United on Sunday. Am I expecting anything to happen? No, because Manchester United are useless. But then I also do have Chelsea before the international break, and then we face them. And after we face them, they then have Spurs as well, and Aston Villa. So there are some, big fixtures coming up for Manchester City, and they're the ones who you want to stay close to. As for Arsenal, I think Arsenal have played some hard games. They've got Sheffield United next, which is just horrific. They've then got Newcastle. I like the sounds of that. They've then got Burnley. Yeah, I think Burnley are probably down. They've got Brentford, Wolves, Luton. Yeah, let's just not even look at Arsenal. Arsenal have got an all right kind of fixture run. Spurs, let's hope that you've had an easy start. I don't think They've got Chelsea coming up. They've got Manchester City. They've got Aston Villa, West Ham, Newcastle. I am going into December here, but they've got them games. They've got some hard games coming up. Our December is vile as well. So, but I'm happy where the Reds sit. And not just am I happy where the Reds sit, but this is Anfield, did a post earlier on today, and it was a stat about Darwin Nunez. And I think we all are coming round to realise just how boss Darwin Nunez is. He was on international duty and was absolutely killing it for Uruguay. But Darwin Nunez has only started 3 Premier League matches this season, but he's having a bigger impact than most. Last summer, obviously, Nunez signed us for, it was 60 mil rising to 80. Everyone would like to say just 80 out, but it wasn't. Either way, in his first season, he got 14 goals from 41 games. The forward is trying to show his true quality, and he's doing it now. In the 23-24 Premier League season so far, he has more goals and assists per 90 minutes than any other player, with over 300 minutes to their name. Erling Haaland's in there, and still not there. Evidently, he's played more minutes. But goals plus assists per 90 with 300 minutes played. Darwin Nunez has 1.58. We know he loves his connection with Mo Salah with assisting. We've got Callum Wilson up there, who's on 1.35. Mo Salah, obviously, on 1.28. Then Erling Haaland on 1.12. Alexander Isaac on 1.09. Ollie Watkins, who's also having a boss season, on 1.07. Hwang Hee-chan, 1.07. He scored against us and then he scored against City. I remember those two. James Maddison, who has had a brilliant start to the season, and I agree, he has, I'm not even denying that. He's on 0.95. So I understand Darwin Nunez is an attacker, but he's also probably played less minutes than all of these, and look at him. So I like it. I think Darwin Nunez, I'd love him to play more. But he's starting to show just how good of a footballer he is. He's calmed down a bit. He's still enough chaos that it properly excites you, but also he's calm enough that in those moments, like against in the Merseyside Derby, he knows when to just slide it to Mo, so he can slot it in the back of the net. Nunez has a lot fewer minutes than Mo. We know, we are aware, but for both of them to be as high as they are, it's boss to see. Darwin Nunez is clearly having an unbelievable impact, whether he starts or whether he's off the bench. And if I was to choose my front three, he'd be in it tomorrow. If we were to play a game tomorrow, no matter who it was, I'd want Darwin Nunez to start. A couple of injuries here and there and some cramp hasn't always let him start, and obviously coming back from international duty at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I'm really, really excited for the rest of the season. I'm excited for what Darwin Nunez can bring, and the more he starts, the better he'll get. So yeah, I can't wait. Craig there with just the Nunez. Yeah, love him. He gets us, and that is the other thing I absolutely love about the lads. Bear in mind, I think Toffee TV have just came in, so I really should wrap this up to just go next door and see how they're doing. I like Nunez on the bench as a threat. He comes on and destroys. I think he's too good to be on the bench. Once again, if we are saying he's 80 mil, Liverpool don't sign players for 80 mil and then just leave them on the bench. They can't afford to do that. He's having too much of an impact. I agree. He, off the bench, looks great. But I do want him to just start. I really want to see, him as our number 9. And I think he should be starting. But who knows? Let's see what happens. We've got quite a couple of fixtures coming up, so it wouldn't surprise me if he starts some of them, benches some of them, comes off and has an impact. But either way, I'm thoroughly enjoying Liverpool Football Club at the moment. I'm loving every single lad that was on the pitch. I thought Ryan Gravenberch, by the way, was incredible in that first half against Everton. Really good. Silky footballer. Really silky footballer. And I cannot wait to see, where we are come November international break, because like I mentioned earlier, we've got some nice fixtures. Let's hope the Reds can capitalise and hopefully gain some points on opposition teams before December, because we have we have I think it's Arsenal in there, Newcastle's definitely in there, United. So we've got a tough December, like always. So let's try and get as many points as we can, and continue to be at the top. Someone just put Gravenberch is a great player, Craig. Yeah, he's unbelievable. Gakpo available for Thursday? I hope so, but I'm not too sure. He was in training before Everton. I think we were all surprised not to see him on the bench. I would say yes, but Jurgen Klopp will have his press conference on Wednesday and then you'll find out fully. He might have picked up a setback, a little knock, something might have, been too painful or swelling and Liverpool didn't want to risk it, who knows. But let's hope he is back for Thursday. Whether he starts Thursday, I'm not sure. If he was just not in the squad due to precaution and he was absolutely fine, they just wanted to give him the extra weekend off, then yeah, you might see him start, but I wouldn't rush him too much. Anyway, nice one for joining me for this show. Merseyside is red, Liverpool is red, and look, that's all we really cared about this weekend. We'd have loved other football clubs to drop points, but ultimately beating the Blues was all I cared about. And hopefully Liverpool continue this good run of form. But until the next one, up the Reds.
Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.